All right, guys, welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how UMG is demanding dismissal of Drake's Not Like Us legal petition in Texas and why it probably won't work. And this is me giving my opinion as a business person in Texas. I have an understanding of how laws play out in Texas and what some of the business rules are. So this video is covering this situation from a business standpoint, not so much a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand the business world of Texas, and I want to just apply that knowledge to what I see going on here with UMG and Drake. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the text from the dismissal petition and talk about why it's probably a stretch for UMG to think that this is going to get them out of the lawsuit with Drake. Let's take a look. The article out of Vibe says UMG demands dismissal of Drake's Not Like Us legal petition in Texas. Drake filed two headline-making legal petitions last year, one against Universal Music Group and Spotify, and the second filed in Texas solely against UMG. While Drizzy dropped the first petition to make way for a full-blown lawsuit, he has yet to address the second. UMG is now demanding that the second petition be dismissed. Because Drake's petition is related to and was filed in response to UMG's protected free speech, and because Drake cannot carry his burden to establish by clear and specific evidence that he is entitled to a pre-suit discovery, the court should dismiss Drake's retaliatory legal action against UMG. The filing reads, Drake provides nothing outside of his verified petition, which alone cannot provide an evidentiary basis for a petition. Even looking into the petition, there is no evidentiary support for his asserted need for a pretrial deposition of UMG. So, for my interpretation and what I know the way businesses like to operate is the first thing that businesses are going to tell you is, hey, whatever you're claiming, there's no there. So this is typical of what a business would try to do to get out of it. And they're doing that in a couple of ways. They're saying that Drake is not giving enough evidence that even warrants a pretrial discovery. So based on the fact that UMG has free speech and what they believe is unlimited free speech, that they should be able to put out whatever content their artists produce. And this is not directed toward Kendrick Lamar. This is just directed toward the music world in general. Because UMG feels as though music and lyrics are unequivocal free speech, that on free speech grounds, this should be dismissed. They're also alleging that as far as the payola, there's no evidence, clear evidence that Drake has that shows that they used any type of pay for play to promote the record. So what they're saying is Drake is attacking their free speech rights. So it's Drake that's wrong for limiting their free speech. And they're also claiming that there's no evidence to show that anything was done nefariously to promote the song. This is not a legal channel, so we're not going to get into the entire document. This is a business information and culture channel, so we're just going to talk about how businesses use these artists and use us to make their bag. So again, UMG is trying to close the books and put a tight lid on it so that no more evidence could be discovered. And they're also saying, based off of the fact that they have unlimited free speech, and this is what I think is some of the irresponsibility of companies that they exploit, is even if they do feel like they have unlimited free speech, that's to me is all the more reason to be responsible and to be careful when you're putting out content. Anyone else on the internet, whether it's YouTube, whether it's any journalism, whether it's any form of media, we all at some point come under the scrutiny of defamation laws, slander laws. UMG is basically arguing, in my opinion, that as a record label, whatever the artist says is completely up to them and the free speech rights are basically unlimited. Now, here's where they go on to throw Kendrick Lamar under the bus, and this is going to be really important for Kendrick Lamar fans to understand. UMG is not defending Kendrick Lamar. They are defending themselves. They're looking at it as a record label. All they're doing is putting out music. And while you may agree with that, the area that's going to be explored really heavily in this case is, do record labels have any responsibility in what their artists pull out? If they're If the material causes harm to others and the record label knowingly promotes it, knowingly pushes it out, even so far as to push it in ways that are considered taboo in the industry or unspoken about, simply to get more plays, irregardless of what's being said in the record, even if it makes everybody more money. Let's say it even made Drake more money. Is it okay to say whatever you want in this world of Me Too, in this world of, everything we say being carefully scrutinized? Do record labels and their artists have a pass to be able to say whatever they want? That's what intrigues me so much about this case, and that is why I'm covering it, because I think it's going to answer that big question. So let me know in the comments below by saying absolute free speech. If you believe in absolute free speech, no matter what, let me know about that in the comments below. And since that you believe that it doesn't matter what Drake or Kendrick Lamar say on a record, defamatory or not, if it's within the culture it respects as a battle, do you feel like that artist can say any and absolutely thing that they want? If you don't agree with that, if you think that there should be a little bit of forethought and moderation when it comes to these rap battles, let me know in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think of that. Anyway, I got off track. We were talking about how the record label is actually throwing Kendrick Lamar under the bus, or even worse, just kind of leaving him stranded. And that is another trick that these record companies do. Now, while the internet is giving UMG a lot of props for their statement, what they're failing to do is read in between the lines. The label is actually saying that they don't have any liability in this case. In the business world, liability is a big thing. Who is liable for damages? Who is liable for the result or the actions taken by someone who uses their product? Corporations form to protect themselves from liability. So this is why companies exist in the first place, to limit their liability. And this is what they are attempting to do, I believe, in this statement. The article even goes on to point it out that the label argues that rather than taking the issue up with Kendrick Lamar, Drake has resorted to strategic legal retaliation against UMG and others in an apparent effort to pressure them to limit the distribution of Not Like Us. It can be argued that that's exactly what Drake is doing. He does want it limited. He doesn't want it played at the Super Bowl, of course, I'm sure. But what the label is saying, that why aren't you going after Kendrick Lamar? They're basically telling Drake to do that. A lot of people have pointed out that during this rap beef, Kendrick and Drake have thrown shots at each other. And in these shots, they're suggesting what each other should do lyrically. Well, I'll argue that this is UMG getting in on that same act. They're basically suggesting to Drake what his next move should be. And in this case, it's not to go after them, it's to go after Kendrick Lamar. This is what they get to do by claiming that this free speech argument. It's to me a very corrupt thing that they're doing, but who knows? I could be wrong, and we can see in the courts, the judges could rule that everything that UMG is doing is correct, and that they do in fact have unlimited free speech, and that an artist is in fact allowed to say whatever the artist wants, or better yet, if the artist does get in trouble, then it's only on that artist. UMG doesn't have anything to do with it. These are the things that I'm reading that they are trying to put out there for the court and for the public to consume. And I don't want a love for Kendrick Lamar to blind folks to what UMG is actually, in fact, trying to get away with. And again, Drake himself is saying he is not going after Kendrick Lamar directly. Kendrick Lamar is allowed to say whatever he wants within the context of his battle. Drake has never argued that either. He can say whatever he wants. It's up to the record label to disseminate this product and be responsible for the harm that it caused or that it may or may not cause. And that's the case with any product. So if Drake is going after UMG directly, that's good on him, that he's not taking this to the hip hop community. He's not dealing with this through Kendrick Lamar. I've even heard of cases where artists held back on releasing diss records because the label said, hey, this may not be the best thing to put out there, and to protect themselves and the artists. So it's not unheard of that artists have been pulled back from issuing diss records. The whole community is acting like labels shouldn't stop anything an artist is doing if it's in the context of a rap battle. Okay, so I'll go ahead on and continue with Drake's allegations and how they further kind of leave Kendrick Lamar kind of under the bus, basically in the same position that Drake is, which is basically just a cash cow to exploit, in my humble opinion. It says the Six God alleges that UMG knew that these pedo claims were false and defamatory, yet still chose to distribute the record. He also doubled down on claims that UMG ignored the inflammatory and shocking allegations on the record, knowing it would be a gold mine for the company, emphasizing that they had a financial incentive to promote what he claims are lies. He also believes that UMG is looking to help ruin his brand, giving them more leverage in future negotiations, all which are, seemingly plausible allegations that Drake is making. He goes on to say, not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. UMG shared, we've invested massively in the music, and our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve the historic commercial and personal financial success. So, in other words, they're simply saying that because we're so huge, because our pockets are so deep, we don't have a reason to try to make more money. We already make a lot of money. BS. There's no company out there that wouldn't look at the opportunity to make more money. The question is whether they do it ethically or not, or do they hide behind, a First Amendment or Second Amendment or whatever amendment they want to use to shield them from any liability that their product may be exposed to. So we're going to see both sides are using the law. Both sides are claiming that their rights are being infringed upon, and I think it's really interesting to see how this comes out. What again I think is important to take note of is that Kendrick Lamar's silence on this issue may at some point have to come to an end. He's been pretty good about staying out of it and focusing on his Super Bowl performance as he should be, but at some point he may need to make a statement to clarify his position since he's slowly being put into the middle of this mix. After the Super Bowl, perhaps he'll focus on this a little more. But at some point, I think he's going to have to. UMG is basically leaving him out to dry, and Drake is claiming that the product that they produced leaves UMG exposed. Again, doesn't go after Kendrick directly, but he's going to be expected at some point to give his thoughts on this, or people maybe be left scratching their heads as to where this is all supposed to go. These guys are a really big influence on the culture, so what they say and do and how they respond to these matters, obviously, a lot of people are going to take the lead on. So let's see what happens, guys. Again, this is Real Conservative, where we take a conservative look at pop culture, entertainment, politics. We take a look at it objectively, and I'm trying to get you guys the information as I see it and make you aware of these companies you're using, these brands, how they kind of do what they do to make sure it's at the end of the day, their pockets are fat, regardless of where that leaves you or me. So, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below about all this, and we'll keep following this Drake incident. Keep it coming, guys, and please help me grow the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for the viewership. I would love to have some subscribers out of it. So, guys, thank you for that, and I appreciate that. I'm going to go back to work on the next video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.